Very big thanks to Amiga Bill for hosting us on his recent Twitch stream. BitBeamCannon, Enable Software, and Pixelglass were able to show off the legit 16-bit beat-em-up game we're working on together called Metro Siege, and announce its upcoming Kickstarter campaign for Amiga computers, PCs, and Neo Geo. You can go to metrosiege.com to join the BitBeam mailing list, which will give you access to exclusive secret reward tiers for the best deals and exclusive extras. Here's select clips from the progress report discussion and then the Kickstarter announcement.
All right, folks, listen, we are super lucky today. We have three amazing guests. Let me pull them up here. Let's pull them up. Welcome to the stream. It's a pleasure to have all of you. And I'm super excited. We're going to talk some Metro Siege.
A two-player co-op beat-em-up game. The kind of design ethos for Metro Siege is I wanted to go back to the original thing that influenced the creation of the genre, which was the late 80s, early 90s Hollywood vigilante movies. A more cinematic feel to every aspect of the game. The visuals, the going back to Alex Brown and the incredible luck I have working with him is every idea I came up with, I would say something like, boy, it would be great if this could happen. And then like a half a day later, he'd come back with it working and then some. You'll end up seeing that introduction to level 2 when they chase, spoiler alert, it's about to happen. But when they chase Officer Bob down into the subway, after the players proceed for a few feet, you'll see the camera pans forward. It reminds the players you're chasing after Bob. And then, so all of that kind of stuff, the fluttering paper that's taped up on the column there, that starts fluttering in the wind before the train arrives, all of that storytelling that's more cinematic. So not only was it gameplay, obviously that's the key. We were not out to make a game that was good for an Amiga game. It's my favorite genre. I want to take everything I love from all of the games that especially Chris and I played growing up together and kind of do our best to refine them and innovate on them. Okay, let me show off some of the basic moves. If you jump up and tap down quickly twice, you'll do a knee drop or a similar hit them while they're down move. This gets into the risk versus reward aspect, one of them, of the game. If you try your knee drop and the enemy rolls out of the way, then you're going to hit the pavement with your knees and damage yourself and be left vulnerable for a second with your hands and knees on the ground. So also if you just hold attack and tap down, you'll do a low kick, but if there's an enemy on the ground near you, you'll kick them while they're down. That's the safer way to hurt an enemy while they're down, but it does less damage. So again, it's that balance of risk versus reward. How confident are you in your controls and your timing? Do you want to do fast damage, add a risk to yourself, or safely do a little damage? I hold attack and tap forward to initiate a grab attempt. If I grab an enemy, there's lots of options. Up and attack does the special attack combo. And then just no direction and attack does knees. And then if you hold the direction and press attack, you'll throw the enemy in that direction. You can, of course, throw one enemy into others to damage them and knock them down, including enemies that are on the ground. That's one of the many ways you can hurt enemies that are on the ground, is throw an other enemy on top of them. If I hold attack and hold back, I block. If I time that really well, I'll do an automatic counterattack. And if you do that at the perfect time just before an enemy attack hits you, you'll automatically parry and counterattack. Here comes good old Officer Bob. Great work, Corey, if you're still tuned in.
Is this the Amiga version that we're playing in our browser?
Basically, virtually identical to the Amiga version, and you can, I'm pretty sure with this version, correct me if I'm wrong, Alex, could someone on an Amiga, actual Amiga, play with me while I'm on the browser? Would that work?
Yes, but this is pixel identical with the Amiga to the point where, yeah, as you say, you can play it against a real Amiga and it stays in sync, because if there were any little differences, it would mean that the network gameplay gets out of sync. So it's 100% pixel perfect, this version with the Amiga version.
All right. Well, I think I covered enough for the basic moves. So let's start with an update on Metro Siege. So as you longtime Amigans know, We've been working on this game for a great many years. It was always forced to be a side project, largely on the back burner, because we are team members from all over the world with families, day jobs, um, and sometimes other projects. So sometimes there would be bottlenecks where the game wouldn't progress much, or and especially not in ways that we could make very visible to the public. But a huge amount has changed since then, and that's part of the exciting announcement, is that finally we've reached a state, largely due to Alex's incredible work recently, on just further, we'll say, pimping out Engine 9000 in a way where every team member can work and contribute with very little risk of roadblocks. I mean, already any team member can work on a new character in Retro Animator, a new thug, and use the debugger, make new builds, can make tweaks to animations, tweaks to actual timing of animations and hitboxes, and just make a new test build ourselves, or even test it in real time in the debugger. Just tell the debugger to load in a new file, a new Retro Animator file, all kinds of amazing stuff. But he also recently added an entire scripting language basically for enemy AI. And that's another awesome reason that development on Metro Siege is going to go much faster from now on. Oh, and my brother Chris, he's going to be able to help with the coding to finish the modern PC version of Damon Claw. And he now can help with game design, AI design, and AI kind of bedding and programming for Metro Siege. So we've got a whole other team member and a whole tool set that lets us develop and finish Metro Siege at a drastically faster pace. But anyway, so going back to the progress on Metro Siege, um, because we're finally at the place where we could actually come up with estimates that aren't dangerously inaccurate or an undue amount of pressure to any particular team member on top of their day jobs and other things, that the topic of Kickstarters came up earlier. We finally reached a situation in Metro Siege where we can do a Kickstarter, and we're actually going to launch a Kickstarter for Metro Siege, hopefully end of April or the month after April. I can't think.
May.
May, exactly, early May. So that's what we're working for. If you go to metrosiege.com, there is a mailing list, BitBeam mailing list, that you could sign up for. And what that's going to do is we're going to send out through the mailing list secret links to secret tiers for the Kickstarter. So anyone that signs up, you'll get access to secret reward tiers no one else will have access to, that are going to be the best deals, but actually have exclusive content added to those bundles or those physical versions, for example, of Metro Siege. So the other missing link is, if you look at the history of Kickstarter games for Mega Drive and for Neo Geo, as long as you make a decently good-looking game, you end up getting quite well funded by the collectors of the Mega Drive and the Neo Geo. Whereas that is not remotely an established pattern for Amiga games yet. If you want to go back to metrosiege.com and show people the website, the other missing link is, uh, because of more amazing work by Alex Brown and the just incredible state that Engine 9000 he's made it achieve, we're going to be able to offer Metro Siege not just for Amiga, which will be front and center on the Kickstarter campaign, and it will be the first version to be finished. But we're also offering a modern version that's widescreen and can overcome some of the limits, because it's not a 16-bit game at that point. Like, there's a hard mode where we could like basically throw as many enemies onto the screen at a time as we want to. But at the same time, the other platform we're going to offer Metro Siege for is Neo Geo. Keep in mind, in the development, the Amiga is the core version, the version that will get finished first, and it will actually benefit because now we have to design everything up to Neo Geo and modern standards. Offering Metro Siege to those other platforms will help us get funded enough to finish all versions, but including and especially the Amiga version, finished all the sooner, because the more funding it gets, the less day hours the key members of the Metro Siege team have to working on day job stuff. They can spend those hours developing the game. Metro Siege being offered for these other platforms will actually introduce people who may have never heard of the Amiga before to the Amiga. And one of the cool things we're doing, like we did with Damon Claw, is every version for every platform is different. So let's say a Neo Geo person backs the Neo Geo version of Metro Siege. The first version they're going to get and play, because it's going to be the version finished first, is going to be the Amiga version. And we're making sure that we're going to make sure every version has differences, not only obviously to the graphics and stuff, but to the gameplay. If two players select the same character in Metro Siege, you get an alternate skin version of that character. So if one player chooses Alex, the other player wants to play as Alex, they can do that, but then it's a character with a different look and different name, but the same move set as Alex. Those alternate skin characters are going to be different between all the versions, and there will be differences in behavior in some enemies and boss fights too. So that means it doesn't matter if the person that backs Metro Siege never heard of Amiga, they will hear of Amiga, and they'll be able to play another great version of Metro Siege on the Amiga version. And one of the things that we offered in the Kickstarter account, which was also successful, so we've proven ourselves with 2 successful Kickstarters. But for Metal Mac, one of the things we offered was this is a prototype, so I can't turn the page. So we offered this magazine, which will be like a Nintendo Power style magazine. This one is focusing on Metal Mac, but in the Metro Siege Kickstarter, the people that get this bonus add-on will have a bonus round magazine dedicated to Metro Siege, tips and tricks, the art of, and the making of. So it's going to have articles in there by myself, by Alex Brown, by Corey, largely that are going to be very Amiga centric. It can be like a ambassador game for the Amiga computer and the Amiga community.
That's fantastic. We need to get more blood into the Amiga community to keep it alive.